All right, so now example C, find the domain. It's asking you to do the same thing. I just changed the instructions because I noticed in the homework some of the problems say solve, some of them say find the domain. The interval that you find, that's the domain. So just wanted you to be aware of that. All right, it's already set to 0, so that means I'm going to factor. That's the next step. Factor it. So I split up my x's. The second symbol is positive, so I know they're going to be the same thing. The first one's negative, so they're both minuses. Multiply to 25, add to negative 10, negative 5 and negative 5. So critical number, I only have one, it's 5. Because when I draw my number line, I'm not going to put 5 on there 2 times. It's just a single number 5. So I'm going to put my 5 on there. That's where I'm splitting up my number line into sections. And I'll go ahead and pay attention to this symbol. It's a greater than, so that's open. So it's an open dot at 5. 5 is not included. I need to pick a number to the left of 5. Anytime I can choose 0, I'm going to choose 0. So I'm going to plug in a 0 in my blank. So blank squared minus 10 times blank plus 25 is greater than 0. Plug in a 0, plug in a 0. So I get 25 is greater than 0. Yes, that is true. So this section, the number smaller than 5 should work. All the way down to negative infinity, right? And I have positive infinity over here. Then I need to check my other section. Numbers bigger than 5. Pick any number you want. I'm picking 10. I like 10. 10's easy for me to work with. You can use 6. You can use 752. Whatever you want. Blank squared minus 10 times blank plus 25. That's 25 is greater than 0. If I plug in 10 and 10, I get 100 minus 100 plus 25 is greater than 0. Yes, that's true. So that means this section also works. So now I'm going to write my answer. What do you think the answer would be? Both sections work. A lot of people would say all real numbers, but it can't be all real numbers, can it? Because 5 is not included because it's not or equal to. So in interval notation, I would write it as negative infinity to 5, not including 5, in union with, not including 5, to positive infinity. That's interval notation, so if instructions say use interval notation for your answer, it must be like that. Another way of saying the same thing could be all real numbers, comma, x does not equal 5. So if the instructions don't explicitly say how to give your answer, you could give either one. All real numbers, but x cannot equal 5, or interval in union with the other interval. So from negative infinity all the way up to 5, skip over 5, and then everything greater than 5. All right, so one more. Solve. And let's just make it easy and use the same quadratic. X squared minus 10x plus 25 is less than or equal to 0. All right, so we have the same quadratic, so we already know that this is x minus 5 less than or equal to 0. So the Cn is 5. Set up another number line, put 5 on it. So that's where I split it into my sections.
Right. This will close 0? That closed dot?
Yes, but this is less than or equal to. So this is a closed dot at 5. I know negative infinity is over here, positive infinity is over here. Pick a value less than 5, so I'm going to stick with 0 like I did last time. So I have blank squared minus 10 times blank plus 25 is less than or equal to 0. I'm plugging in 0. So I get 25 is less than or equal to 0. No, 25 is not less than or equal to 0. So this section does not work. Check it on the other side with 10. So again, I get blank squared minus 10 times blank plus 25 less than or equal to 0. Plug in the 10s. And I end up with 25 is less than or equal to 0. And that does not work. That's not true. So this section does not work. So in this case, I end up with just a single number 5, right? Because now 5 is included, but nothing else works. So x equals 5. Not that you have to for this problem or this type of problem, but just to prove it to yourself, if you felt the need to prove it to yourself that that is actually 5, that it works. I'm not just making it up. Oops. You can always plug it in to check. Blank squared minus 10 times blank plus 25 is less than or equal to 0. And if I plug in 5, then I get 25 minus 50 plus 25 is less than or equal to 0, which is 0 is less than or equal to 0. And that's true. Alright, so your assignment, that is what you're going to work on tomorrow with the sub, is page 145, numbers 15, 16, 31, 47, and 51.
What do you have to do tomorrow?
Me? I have a night day. It's for college prep math. It's a planning day.